Hi all, my name is Haley Comet and welcome to my cosmic corner of the internet where we discuss all things astrology. And today, North Node and Taurus through the houses. We are taking a journey of combining each of the signs with each of the houses, as that was a common question in my North Node through the houses series. Like, my North Node is in Taurus, but it's going into the 8th house. How can I merge these energies? So I'm here to break it down, your unique sign, which is North Node and Taurus, with the house combinations as well. And this placement really packs so much power because it both expresses where we have expertise, where we have natural talents, that's our South Node, and what we can work on in this lifetime to sort of hone in on our individual purpose and qualities that we are being asked to dive into. So it's both where you've been and where you're going, which is why it is my pleasure and honor to continue on with the series. If you wouldn't mind, if there is a moment that you feel seen, you feel heard, you feel understood, you learned something new, if you would consider liking, commenting, subscribing, any of those little nudges are truly so helpful to me and my channel as I continue on in this series. And without further ado, let's dive in North Node and Taurus through the houses. So firstly, I want to let you know that in between the sign and the house, I will always give the house placement a little bit more credence than the sign, and here's why. If someone was born roughly in the same 18 months as you, they will have the same nodal sign, right? Yet houses are deeply personal. They change based on a minute. The sign changes every 2 hours. So typically houses are a little bit more personal to us, but it's important to think of the two working together in conjunction. So let's talk about overall themes: North Node, Taurus, South Node, Scorpio. And just in case you don't know, if you're a North Node Taurus, you automatically have South Node Scorpio. Some chart placements will show it as True Node, same thing, Taurus. And as I continue on this video, I will be discussing past lives, past incarnations. If that's not something that resonates with you, I want you to just sub in early in life or whatever does resonate with you. There is a branch of karmic astrology that considers South Node is our past life, but of course, not everyone needs to resonate with that idea. So you can just sub in whatever does resonate and work with you. So with South Node Scorpio, you have past life or early life experience in crisis situations. And in this lifetime, you can have a tendency to magnetize them your way. So Scorpio is the energy of death and rebirth, of crisis, right? And with South Node Scorpio, either in past lifetimes or in this lifetime, it was just sort of magnetizing crisis-like situations your way. It does give you a gift in that you tend to be very gifted in terms of psychology, in terms of being able to support people if they are going through a crisis situation. But because in past lives you were so busy helping other people with their crises, you didn't really get the opportunity to build what was valuable to you and to build in general, to accumulate. It was almost like this energy where you were living this perpetual feeling of fear that everything that you had would be taken from you, and many times it was. So it was constantly destroying and rebuilding, destroying and rebuilding. There also could have been past life story around going to excess or this all or nothing sort of mentality. You also could have united with powerful individuals. You could have been taken care of by other people's resources, other people's money, rather than building yourself. That's not going to cut it in this lifetime with a Taurus North Node. So let's talk about what you should be moving towards. So with Taurus North Node, it really heightens all of the senses, right? Sight, smell, taste, feeling, hearing, right? Anchoring down into the here and now. Because as I mentioned, with the Scorpio, it was always like up and down and living on these like emotional highs of crises, of destruction and rebuilding. Whereas with North Node Taurus, you are learning to be in the moment, and our senses are an amazing opportunity for that. You are learning to ground down. You are learning patience, building something step by step, as well as accumulation, and being able to build without this energy of destruction. You've got that under your belt. You know how to do that. This lifetime is about building and accumulating things that are valuable for you. It is about earning your own money with North Node Taurus. It's about learning how you can create value in the world around you. That also is something that you value to do. And it's not just saying, you know, if you are receiving support right now, like cut it off entirely. But with this nodal story, there was past lifetimes that you were fully supported. And this lifetime is about learning how to tap into your own money-making ability, because oftentimes North Node Taurus individuals have a lot of it. They have it in spades once they're able to tap into it. Which brings me to an important part. If you're listening to this and you're like, I don't really resonate, North Node is our journey in this lifetime. So if you don't quite feel that energy of Taurus, it just indicates that you're still on a journey to sort of process and handle that North Node, that journey of yours. Oftentimes it's out of our comfort zone. It's something that, you know, we've had past lives. For you, you've had past lives or early life experience in Scorpionic themes, intensity, right? Deeply committing and merging with other people, dealing with crisis situations, destroying and rebuilding yourself, destroying and rebuilding the world around you. This lifetime, you're aiming for a very even keel Taurus North Node approach. Taurus is symbolized by the bull. So one step at a time, stubbornly fixated on your goal and not having this all or nothing approach. Another theme that I want to mention to you as overall is a tendency to be self-destructive. Like I said with Scorpio South Node, there can be this tendency within you to mess up a good thing because there's almost this fear around receiving, right? With Scorpio South Node, there was such an emotional roller coaster of living on other people's highs and lows that when you are doing something good, you can almost get in your own way and be like, I don't deserve this. I don't deserve this. Let me just ruin it now, whether it's subconsciously or consciously because I'm going to ruin this for myself. Other Scorpio South Nodes can get into very destructive tendencies. I won't mention it because I've heard, YouTube doesn't like the name, but you can think of things such as, going to excess with physicality, going to excess with substances, things of the like, to create that emotional high and low, almost thrill-seeking approach that they're looking for. Because with Scorpio South Node, there's almost a story around, for life to be worth something, it needs to be intense. It needs to have peaks and valleys. And for you, you're really learning how to slow it down, ground down, be in the present, anchor into nature, build things that are valuable to yourself, and get out of this process of constantly seeking highs and lows, whether you're creating them for yourself or, I've seen this very commonly, attracting people who create that for you. So bonding with people who are constantly drama, who have you hanging on their every whim or fancy, because truly with a Scorpio South Node, there's a past life story, early life, just sub that in if it resonates, around living on other people's highs, around merging with partnerships. So you're very good at partnerships. You've had experiences realizing how much more powerful we can be if we merge rather than do something alone. So you tend to be overly attuned to other people's experiences at the expense for your own, because subconsciously you can have a tendency to think that other people are more powerful and more capable than you are. And on the note of money, you can feel like you would rather, marry someone wealthy or be supported rather than earn money yourself, because in a past life story, you haven't really gotten the opportunity to cultivate that skill within yourself, and that's why you signed up for a Taurus North Node in this lifetime. So overall themes, I would say slow down, be in the here and now, let go of individuals who are highly, highly dramatic, attune to your own values, what means a lot to you, and really hone in your relationship to the world around you. Really dial in your relationship with money, how you spend money, what you own, what you build in this lifetime. Anchor into your own sensuality. Let yourself feel good. Don't feel guilty when you buy something or do something good for yourself. Celebrate yourself. Other qualities to appreciate is gratitude. With South Node Scorpio, there can be this sensation of always desiring what other people have, or even on negative manifestations, being very jealous. So as soon as someone else has something, being like, I want that, I want that. With Taurus North Node, it's about anchoring down, what am I thankful for? Here and now, looking to the left, looking to the right, and finding reasons to be grateful right now, and taking that slow and steady approach when it comes to building what you want to build. Letting go of feelings of desire or feelings of intense power plays, because with Scorpio South Node, that could be past life recollections. This lifetime is about leaning into things that are a little bit more simple, things that are a little bit more sensual, and things that are a little bit more pleasurable as you build your ideal reality. So I'm going to take it house by house, and I'll have timestamps below so you can fast forward to your house and sign placement, as well as the likely rising sign. Go by where yours is placed. If your rising sign isn't what I list next to it, no worries. That's just typically if you use whole sign house, that's the rising that it'll be. But if you use Placidus, which I do myself, then you might have a different rising sign than the one listed. Don't get confused. Just pay attention to the house and the sign that you have your North Node in. Hopefully it's Taurus because that's what you clicked on, but look at the house. So Taurus, North Node Taurus in the first house. So South Node Scorpio in the 7th house. So you have past life story around merging with other more powerful people. And by nature, your job was to mask yourself, not be a human being. And it could have been that you were someone very powerful's spouse. It could have been that you were always second fiddle for, a very powerful executive. Your life was wrapped up into almost sort of servicing people who were more important or powerful to you. But by extension, it could have elicited this darker underbelly of humanity for you. You could have gotten very, very interwoven with the dark sides of power. That person could have abused the power that they had over you. You could have, merged with someone who was a little bit toxic. Could have been someone who was very manipulative, jealous, even abusive of their powers. You could have merged with someone who was manipulative, who could have been very jealous, who could have taken advantage of the power that they had over you. You could have been constantly dialed in and a victim to their constant highs and lows and their power plays and the way that they would sort of manipulate you. And you're very attuned to what other people need and even understanding people down to like a psychological level, like in relationships, really understanding their underlying motives and needs, and in even like friendships and things of the like. You're very attuned to other people, but that's not where you're meant to stay in this lifetime. For you, it's about clarifying and working on yourself, your own journey, and letting go of people who are toxic or manipulative or really bring out the worst in you. With North Node Taurus, it's about building your own values before constantly being attuned to other people. There's a tendency with this axis and with these signs that you can only feel validated if other people say it's worth something. With North Node first house Taurus, it's about, do I find this valuable? Do I like working on this? Do I feel proud of this? Who am I? What means a lot to me? And I'm not saying this won't be a soulmate lifetime for you. That's not it at all. But it's very important that you work on clarifying your own values, what it is that you want to build in this lifetime before you really bring someone else into the mix. You're very accustomed to merging energy, and that could be to your detriment at times. You're craving this really deep, soulful bond. Remember, this is a past life thing. You've had that, but it could have brought out the worst in you. In this relationship, that you can have a tendency to rush in or dive into that intimacy or that passion because you want it right away. With North Node Taurus, take it very slow, take it very steady, work on yourself, clarify your values, what you want to work on before bringing someone else's energy into the mix. I'm not saying you shouldn't be in partnerships. That's not it at all. This is a very sensual axis, but it's about making sure that you've defined who it is that you are, stepping up to the plate as the starring role within your life without feeling like you have to be contributing to someone else's projects or career for it to be worth something. First house is also body, so this would also be supported with working out, with feeling stronger, and to grounding down into your body, its needs, its values. This lifetime is about getting more comfortable in being your own leading star, and maybe even starting a business, something that you find valuable. Maybe other people won't find it as sparkly or exciting, but this lifetime is about finding out what you find valuable and pursuing it. With North Node in Taurus in the 2nd house, South Node in Scorpio in the 8th house. So you absolutely, with this combination, merged money in past lifetimes. You were supported by other people, and that could have been inheritances, that could have been a wealthy spouse, that could have been, some sort of alimony or child support, but you did not have to earn your own income. But nothing in life is free, right? Even if you're being supported by other people, it's not necessarily free money. You paid for that in other ways, maybe not financially, but certainly mentally and psychologically. With this combination, it feels like you were supported by other people, but you had to be so attuned to them, right? Attuned to their psychology. You had to merge your entire identity into that person. You had to be constantly on their emotional highs and lows. You even could have been, a victim of something a little bit darker at the hands of someone else. You were very used to being supported by others. And you could even doubt your own abilities in order to earn an income for yourself in this lifetime, because it's just not where you've had past life experience. However, you are incredibly supported in doing so, and it could be very, very prosperous for you. With North Node Taurus, you are learning about the value of money. Because you were supported by other people, there might not be an inherent respect for money. You could find it very easy to spend money, lend money to other people, go in debt, things of the like, because to you, money was something that was there, it was supportive, so it's not something you had to really think about. In this lifetime, you're being asked to think about it and think about your own, money-making abilities. So activities such as budgeting, such as structuring, what your money goes to is very helpful. Looking at what you've accumulated and taking a very slow and steady pace to it. Like the shadow side of Scorpio South Node is this all or nothing approach. So it's either like living in a mansion in the Hollywood Hills or absolutely nothing. Whereas with North Node and Taurus, it's about building a maybe modest but sustainable lifestyle and feeling grateful for it. And I'm not saying you can't be wealthy with this placement. Many individuals, one is coming to my mind, a client who is extraordinarily wealthy. It's not saying that you can't build wealth with this. It's just saying take a slow and steady pace to it rather than feeling like it needs to be all or nothing. There is, with this combination, you should be very, very mindful around going into debt. If you do start business for yourself, aim for a more slow and steady approach towards it rather than going full in. Remember, Taurus really magnifies patience and a respect for money and budgeting and working with it and grounding down within it. And furthermore, second house is also self-esteem, our own values. So there's also this journey that you're embarking upon around feeling worthy of accepting money and feeling worthy of purchasing nice things for yourself. With North Node Taurus in second house, it's not materialistic to be able to purchase something that you find valuable and look at it and remember, hey, I worked hard for that and I deserve it. In fact, it's quite supportive in this lifetime to anchor into what it is that you value and to accumulate, items that mean something to you, to build wealth in this lifetime in a very slow and steady way with respect for it, as well as really getting out of, looking at what everyone else has or like, oh, my friend has this, sugar daddy who's supporting her and she gets all of these things. Really avoiding those feelings of jealousy with the Scorpio South Node in the 8th house, and just focus, what can I build in this lifetime, and really allowing yourself to feel worthy of these things. I've found that that's often a roadblock, is that Taurus North Nodes are like, well, I can't make money. How would I possibly be able to do that? But with Taurus North Node, it's what you're here to work on in this lifetime, anchoring down on things that you find valuable. Like with Taurus North Node, it's not the most flashiest thing if you don't believe in it. It's something that you truly find value in, something that you really respect. And maybe it won't be the most glamorous. Typically Taurus North Node, it might have something to do with their hands or building or gardening or farming. Not saying you have to do any of those things, but typically it is something that's a little bit more physical, a little bit more grounding in nature. And it might not be the most glamorous thing ever, but in the process of sort of taking this slow and steady, working hard approach, you can find that you're able to accumulate everything your heart has desired, build wealth for yourself, as well as feel very, very proud of yourself. Taurus North Node in the 3rd house, Scorpio South Node in the 9th house. So for you, you could have merged with someone who was very well-traveled, someone who's very philosophical, someone who's very intelligent, perhaps an academic of some sort. And for you, something you might notice, you run into, is this feeling around, gosh, I'm trying to find a nice word to say this, but maybe even some like snobby feelings. Scorpio South Node, there could be just a sensation of looking around and being like, I can't wait to get out of this town and really be around true wealth, or like really find someone who's going to take care of me and take me away from here and going to travel the world and be very educational and worldly. There can be this tendency that your mindset sinks into where for something to be worth anything, it needs to be flashy, it needs to be worldly, it needs to be maybe spiritual or academic in some sense. There's an aversion to the here and now and to the mundane. You're gifted in that you are naturally very attuned to spirituality, majorly. You could even have some major intuitive gifts with this combo, you have a lot of wisdom at your disposal, and it can come out in conversations. You're like, where did that just come from? You're very attuned to other people's psychology, and you can even have a tendency of being very all or nothing when it comes to your spiritual beliefs or your beliefs in general. So only connecting with people if they believe in the same things that you do, or if they have a different political belief or a different spiritual belief, you just like cut off that relationship entirely, and it's like, I can't even talk to you. And almost the tendencies of this is to be in an echo chamber of your own beliefs, because there's such an all or nothing approach to it. For you in this lifetime, it's about anchoring into the here and now and your immediate environment. It's also about exploring communication. Like I said, with South Node 9th house, there can be a tendency to only want to connect with people who are very powerful and very worldly in some sense, whereas third house is very everyday person. This nodal axis is very much about finding the wisdom in the everyday, finding the wisdom that can be gained from just walking down the street and purchasing flowers from the person down the street, or the wisdom that can be accumulated from your neighbors, from the here and now. For you with South Node 9th house Scorpio, there is this tendency to want to run away from your problems, or to glamorize anywhere else but here, and constantly desire to be somewhere else, or to, be a partner to someone who is more important or more worldly. With North Node Taurus, it's about finding the beauty in the here and now, walking to the park and really feeling that connection with nature, really anchoring into those simple conversations with who are immediately around you, and realizing wisdom can be gained from anywhere. And for you, the mind is both a receiver and a communicator, so it's not like you're just here to receive messages from other people. You can very well be gifted in communicating them, and furthermore making money from them. Like I said, with South Node 9th house, you have a lot of past life experience in assembling these very abstract, higher level concepts of religion, of spirituality, of academia. And for you, there might be tendencies to want to enroll in that master's program so you could be around people who are as intelligent as you, or take part in that retreat in this faraway place where you're around people who are as attuned to higher sources than you. But you're sort of doing your soul's journey a disservice, because in this lifetime, it's about taking that wisdom that is sort of shared in these higher level or more respected individuals and bringing it down to the everyday person and communicating them in a very simple way. For example, something such as, being a yoga instructor, taking these 9th house, spiritual themes and communicating them in a way that people can understand, peppering it into, yoga class. That also kind of helps the North Node Taurus sensation of wanting to anchor down into your body. And with North Node Taurus, it's also around earning money. So you can earn money from being a communicator of some sort, a blogger, a writer, something of the like. But it's important that you distill that message into something that everyone can understand, and not really gatekeep, I'm only going to talk to people who, are this wealthy or this important, and being open to sort of taking those higher level messages that you have and anchoring them down in a way that's very easily understood for those around you. Taurus North Node in the 4th house, Scorpio South Node in the 10th house. So for you, you could have past life experience of being in the spotlight always. And particularly with this combination, it feels like you're in the spotlight for being someone else's important spouse or partner or something of the like. Politician, spouse, something of that nature. And there can be a tendency to feel like anything that's worth doing, other people will, commemorate for you. Whereas this lifetime is about finding what is personally valuable to you, even if it's not flashy for everyone else. A shadow side of South Node Scorpio is this tendency to covet and desire what other people have. And this nodal journey is about learning, what is it that's truly valuable to me? With South Node Scorpio in the 10th house, there can be a tendency to pursue careers based on what other people find valuable or powerful. So if you find, you're an executive at this major business, or you're a politician, you're like, this has gotten so out of control, I don't even want to be doing this. That's your South Node Scorpio 10th house, because you based your career path on what other people found was powerful and successful. And you have a lot of past life experiences in those roles, so it's very natural for you to want to rise to positions of high authority and to be someone very important in the public eye. But in this lifetime, it's about grounding down into a little bit of a simpler existence, but one that's really honed in your own values. With North Node Taurus, fourth house. Fourth house is home, it's family, it's emotional state. So for you, it's about finding something that feels good, that feels valuable, that feels productive. It could be something, you know, working with your hands with North Node Taurus, working on something that's a little bit grounding and something that just feels good for you to be doing, rather than, you know, being worried about power plays and how everything looks in the public eye. With North Node Taurus, it's about finding a vocation where you just feel like you can ground down, commit to something of value and sort of build something. So this combination, you know, it could be something such as farming, working with the land on your property. It could be something such as real estate, things of this nature. I'm not saying career is a bad fit, but career based on what other people find valuable, that's what's the bad fit. You can also find with this combination, having a family is supported. Now, I'm not saying you have to have children necessarily, but anchoring into family tradition, grounding down within them. If you're adopted, researching, you know, your ancestry, your birth parents, finding sort of value in where it is that you've come from, rather than the tendency with South Node Scorpio is that you could try to escape where you've come from, be like, I've got to get away from that and dive into me because I'm so, you know, important, or finding someone important that I could sort of merge my identity with. It's sort of like anchoring into, okay, where have I been? And grounding down into it, finding gratitude for your life, for your family. Even if you don't have a great relationship with your family, it could just be, you know, working slowly and steadily towards finding a home base, finding a sanctuary that does feel like home, that does feel like safety. It could absolutely be like building a home would be a great North Node Taurus manifestation, as Taurus is the energy of building, fourth house is the energy of home. And furthermore, building your own values, what's important to you. Maybe you know, quit your position at the top and it's just like, I want to have a family. Even if you don't think it's glamorous, even if you don't think it's valuable, that's what's important to me, and that's what I want to build in this lifetime. So asking, what makes me happy? What do I feel is a valuable usage of my time, and how can I create a life that sort of honors those simple practices? North Node in Taurus, 5th house, South Node Scorpio, 11th house. So for you, you can get caught up in the opinions of other people, absolutely. 11th house is large audiences of people. It's also humanitarian affairs, things of the like. You could have been, you know, a partner of someone important in those areas, you know, politician or something of the like. But you were very much attuned to the needs of people way beyond yourself, right? So in this lifetime, you could even have guilt around pleasure, around sensuality, because you feel like, oh my gosh, but there's so much going on. What's the purpose of me experiencing pleasure and me having fun? No. But it's interesting because you signed up for a lifetime of expanding pleasure and creativity in this life in a very grounded way. So there can be tendencies to have very all or nothing mindset around people. People are either all good or all bad, or this cause is all good or all bad, or you have to be firmly devoted to, you know, giving all of your time to charity work, or else you're a horrible person. And also watching against those sensations of sort of like guilt. With North Node Taurus, absolutely, like if you want to contribute some time to a cause that you're passionate about, go for it, absolutely. But with North Node Taurus, it's important to get out of your own way around guilt, around pleasure. Taurus is the senses: taste, touch, see, smell, hearing. I always feel like I'm missing a sense, but it's how we feel. And with South Node Scorpio, there's a tendency to, you know, be like all or nothing, or have these feelings of guilt. With North Node Taurus, it's about really honing in on the senses. What feels good to me? What do I like doing? And feeling okay with it. I mean, with this journey, you've done important stuff for humanity. And if it feels right in this lifetime, do a couple of things, sure, but you don't have to make your existence entirely about other people, because for you, you were so attuned to either supporting an important cause or an important person that your own desires and your own values, you were constantly sacrificing. So this lifetime is about honing in what is valuable to me, rather than really dialing into what everyone else is concerned about or what everyone else thinks is the most important, you know, cause for me to be attuned to. What is important to me? How do I enjoy spending my time? 5th house is creativity, self-expression. So you could find with North Node Taurus really cultivating what you find beautiful, working on creations. Yes, it's not going to save the world, but you felt good doing it, and that's okay. And really going against those sensations of, you know, you've got to commit fully for anything to be worth something. With North Node 5th house, it's about being okay with playing, being okay with creating, being okay with taking things at a slow and steady pace rather than burning yourself out, you know, going full in at something. North Node in Taurus, it really aims for this sort of slow and steady approach in terms of pursuing your goals. And for you in particular, taking time to enjoy your life on the way, have fun, play, express yourself, tune into romance and sensuality. With South Node, Scorpio 11th house, a lot of love, or at least partnerships, could have been sort of built off, mutual powerful connection, or, doing things in the public eye in some sense, or for other people. And with North Node Taurus, it's about finding connections that just make you feel good, that are fun, that sort of anchor you in the present, finding things to be grateful for, looking at your everyday and being like, as I pursue towards my goals in a slow and steady way, how can I find things to be grateful for in the here and now? That's another manifestation of 11th house, that it's also the house of hopes and dreams. So desires of this nodal axis take enhanced importance. And not that it's a bad thing to want things, like absolutely with Taurus North Node, you are here to accumulate and build material wealth. That's not a bad thing. But it's about leveraging those desires, constantly wanting things, with anchoring into the here and now, being grateful for what's around you and experiencing pleasure on the way. Creating just for creation's sake, just because you want more beauty to be in the world. Maybe even building, Taurus-like themes in your world. Cooking as a way of creativity, gardening as a way of creativity. 5th house is also children, so you could even find that that's part of your particular journey, is having children and really taking that slow and steady approach with them. And maybe not having children is aligned. It could be just honoring your own inner child. Think of the spirit of children, right? It's having fun just for fun's sake, creating just for fun's sake, looking at every day and just being stoked to be alive. These are all qualities that you are here to sort of work on in this lifetime. You could also find that you work with children, something of the like, but take that slow and steady, sensual approach into anything that you embark upon. With Taurus North Node in the 6th house, Scorpio South Node in the 12th house, this is definitely an intense nodal axis, and it does feel like in past lives, or maybe early in life, you could have been the victim of someone else's emotional drama and manipulation, and it almost kept you isolated. With this, you could have, really struggled with someone else's, mental illness, or maybe they were physically ill, and your life was about merging completely in with that person. It almost kept you isolated from the world around you. 12th house is mental hospitals, elderly folks' homes. It's a house of imprisonment, both physically, like being imprisoned or like stuck somewhere, but also mental imprisonment, how we keep ourselves stuck and barred in. So with South Node, Scorpio 12th house, there's certainly some darker themes that come forward with your past life incarnations. It did give you a lot of healing ability. You're naturally very attuned to psychology. You're naturally very attuned to people who are sick, people who are suffering, and your life was about them. Your life was about helping them, servicing them, and it was almost like it kept you imprisoned from the outside world. There also can be tendencies to stay in solitude in this lifetime, to undervalue yourself, because there was this feeling that your value came from helping people who were sick, whether they were physically sick, mentally sick, or even just like having moral character flaws. But there was this feeling of being indebted to them for better or for worse. It also brings forward some healing abilities, which I touched on, but also some intuitive and psychic abilities that you could have. And you're meant to take those gifts and anchor them into a very physical, here and now way. So 6th house bring forth the themes of health, of service, of daily routine, of pets, of things of that nature. And a big journey for you is letting yourself release people who are constantly in crisis scenarios. And this is going to be hard for you, I know it, because you are very attuned to people who are in need, people who are suffering. And because of that, you can sort of merge to their, ups and downs and make your life about that. And that's a past life theme for you. Whereas this lifetime is about really building a daily routine of what feels good for you and not having to constantly cater your schedule and your life around the needs of other people. With Taurus North Node in the 6th house, there is this journey around maybe taking those spiritual, healing, even intuitive abilities and anchoring them into a very physical, here and now way. Being able to set your own routine based on what's valuable to you. Maybe what's important to you is, health. So taking time that you can walk before you get to work every morning. Maybe what's important to you are small animals. Maybe you want to build a life where you have lots of small animals around you as part of your routine. It's about honing in on your own values without letting other people set them for you. With North Node 6th house, it's also encouraged to be attuned to your health. Pay attention to what makes your body feel good, what makes your body feel not as good. You're really aiming for this very grounded approach to your life and honing in on your body, on your digestion, what allows you to show up as the best version of yourself every day. 6th house is our daily routine, so the process of taking care of something, whether it is a plant, whether it is a small animal, that's helpful for your soul's journey because you were imprisoned to someone else's whims or their desires. And this lifetime is about taking care of things that you find valuable, including yourself, honestly, and having to show up day in and day out and having that patience, right? Step by step, avoiding all or nothing approaches, just being attuned to, okay, what is my goal today? And not letting other people's drama and crisis situations get in the way of it. You can even find that grounding down by structuring your daily routine, like being like, for this block, I'm doing this. For this block, I'm doing this, could be very helpful for you. Just grounding down into the here and now. Building a relationship to your body can be very important. Working out can be something that's very supportive with this aspect, as well as being of service to other people in very tangible ways. So like I said, this is a, serve or suffer axis. So you do have a very, very caring heart. You do want to help other people. It could be helping other people based on something that you find valuable. For example, let's say, I always use yoga as an example. Let me choose something else. Let's say you find acupuncture very valuable. This would be considered that you can heal other people based on something that you find valuable, acupuncture. So 6th house really emphasizes healing of any sort. So yeah, new age healing, things like acupuncture of the like, or even, being a medical professional, something of the like. There is a desire to want to help other people, but in this lifetime, it's about very tangible, service-oriented ways rather than more so like psychological, crisis sort of ways, and being able to attune to your own daily routine and to feel good about your life and what you contribute to society. North Node, Taurus in the 7th house, South Node and Scorpio in the 1st house. So for you, it is about building partnerships that are made to last, that are sturdy in their foundation, right? With South Node Scorpio, there can be a tendency to be all or nothing in terms of relationships or partnerships. And for you in particular within the South Node, it might feel easier to just be on your own because no one matches the level of intensity or devotion that you want. Or you could burn yourself out in partnerships, like just sort of love bombing the person or going really intense and then you're like suddenly over it. This lifetime is about building relationships in a very slow and steady way. Not like rushing into them and overwhelming them with passion and intensity, but really showing up in a very loyal, committed, devoted way, step by step, and not rushing the partnership. Because with this axis, it's about building partnerships based on what's valuable to you. So I would also say with this axis, particularly if you're single, really identifying, what do I value within a partnership? What is important to me? Because that's really important to identify before bringing someone else into the mix. Because Taurus is about your own ability to identify your needs, your preferences. And within the 7th house, yes, a lot of your growth does occur through relationships. But if you go into them being overly attuned to their needs, their desires, you're honestly just feeding into your South Node Scorpio, even though it's in the 1st house. Funny enough about this axis that it can be very self-destructive in the realm of relationships. Like if you feel like someone is just sweet and good and simple and loyal, there could be a tendency to sabotage it because to you, you feel like relationships should be, highs and lows and dramas and intensity and merging. So it's almost like when someone shows up who's everything on your list that you've identified as valuable and is good to you and is sweet, because you don't have those emotional highs and lows or those butterflies with that intensity, you could be like, well, this isn't what I want. Whereas with North Node Taurus, it's about reframing relationships to realize, no, a life partner should be sweet and there. And what I think of as love is actually just, my flight or fright, signals going off within my body, right? Or, wanting that emotional intensity, that crisis situation I'm trying to get away from. Because for you, much of your nodal journey is about building with a partner. With North Node Taurus, I already spoke about this at length, but it is enhancing your money-making ability. And you can find that you are more prosperous when you're able to build with a partner. It could be working with a partner in some way, or even working on behalf of a partner, like being a breadwinner or something of the like. You can find that you are much more prosperous when you are with someone who values the same thing as you do, and the two of you could accumulate quite a bit together, honestly. North Node and Taurus, you have great money karma. You're here to work on that. In addition to building, life together, building a home together, so on and so forth, it's also building of a steady foundational relationship. It's interesting with this combination because with the South Node Scorpio in the first house, where you can get your own way is always prioritizing yourself, not being open to, the input of other people, being very stubborn around things, and not being open, to the insights of others. But you can find that you honestly sabotage yourself when you keep yourself away from connection. When you keep yourself away from connection and partnering with people, you can find that your money-making ability is enhanced when you're willing to open up and work with other people, whether it's physically working together or even being open to a financial advisor, someone to give you input. It's important that you identify your own values before bringing other people's energy into it. But once you do, you can find that people are very helpful for you in a multitude of ways. And also a South Node Scorpio in the first house, being mindful of any tendency to be like, look at me, it's all about me, being in the spotlight, and being open to being like, okay, what about us? What are we building together? How can, we pool our resources to create something that's more powerful together? Taurus North Node in the 8th house, Scorpio South Node in the 2nd house. So this is an interesting combo. So with Scorpio South Node in the 2nd house. So with South Node Scorpio in the 2nd house, you do have refined money-making abilities, and you have a natural sort of underlying psychological understanding of how money works. In this lifetime, it is about pooling resources together to build and accumulate in a merged way. You can be very materialistic and you can desire a lot of things. And that's not wrong necessarily. With North Node Taurus, you are here to accumulate material wealth. You are here to learn about possessions, learn about ownership. That's all well and good. What I want you to be mindful of is identifying your values, what means a lot to you. Just because your neighbor has a Tesla doesn't mean you need to run out and get a Tesla. Just because a gal in your group bought, her first condo doesn't mean you need to run out and buy an entire building. Be mindful of tendencies to want to keep up with the Joneses and accumulate more and more. And furthermore, put yourself into debt in this pursuit of, well, I want more and more and more and more, because those are tendencies to be avoided. In this lifetime, it's about grounding down what's important to me. What do I want to accumulate and own in this lifetime? How can I let go of, desiring what other people have or want, and really hone into what it is that I want? With South Node Scorpio 2nd house, you could have been a breadwinner of some sort. You have natural money-making ability, and that's continuing in this lifetime. You have North Node Taurus, but this lifetime is very much about merging resources with another person. So it could have been in past lifetimes that you sort of earned money and then gave that money to people. This lifetime is about realizing what you can build together can be more powerful when you pool and you truly merge financial energy together. You are encouraged to make money. You are encouraged to, balance your books, be on a budget, so on and so forth. But with North Node 8th house, you can find that when you merge resources with a business partner or with a spouse, your money-making ability, goes up quite a bit. What you need to be mindful of is letting pride or power plays sort of get in the way. With Scorpio, the shadow part of it is sort of manipulation. So almost like, okay, well, I gave you this money, so you have to do this for me, or using it as a bartering act, right? With North Node Taurus, it's a little bit more simple. It's pulling money together with no real strings attached, and realizing how much more magnetic it is when you fully commit, when you fully merge. North Node Taurus in the 9th house, Scorpio South Node in the 3rd house. So what you need to be mindful of is getting caught up in other people's crises and other people's drama, right? With 3rd house, it's communication, it's sort of small talk. It's a small talk house. So for you, where you could sort of get caught up is in being so dialed into what everyone else is doing that you forget to identify what means a lot to you and what you want a big picture sort of focus on. So, do you really need to know who Cindy Lou was with from the back of that car? Do you really need to know what Martha was doing out night. Your Achilles heel is accumulating all of this useless data because South Node Scorpio is naturally attuned to other people's psychological motives, their desires. I apologize if the camera angle changed slightly. My battery died, so I had to go deal with that. But with North Node Taurus in the 9th house, you are being advised to develop your own values and your own big picture. Rather than letting other people have full value over your life, you're being asked to go on a quest to seek it out for yourself. So rather than being overly attuned to others' opinions and others' gossip, it's about cultivating that for yourself. What feels good? What spirituality feels valuable to you? Or maybe you want to explore through academia or something like that that means something to you personally, even if people around you don't necessarily agree. Also, 9th house is also traveling. So with North Node Taurus, you could find that you want to travel, go on a culinary adventures. With this combination feels like eating your way around the country, or maybe even like learning to cook different cultures' food. This is about going on a quest outside of your typical comfort zone and finding what feels valuable to you as you learn about these different cultures, these different lifestyles, these different spiritualities, these different realms of study, and really bringing it back to you. What feels good to you, letting go of other people's opinions, being open to expanding in this world to find things that you can sort of add to your repertoire and thinking bigger with your life. Like 3rd house is sort of small talk. With 9th house, it's big picture spirituality, abstract philosophy. These can be something that you're very, very gifted in sort of exploring for yourself and cultivating for yourself and grounding down within something that feels inherently valuable to you as you expand and you learn about it. North Node in Taurus in the 10th house, South Node in Scorpio in the 4th house. For you, much of your journey is about escaping from family drama and family crises. And the imagery that comes up when I think about this nodal axis is almost like someone trying to like rise up and let go of, generational trauma, and the family members or where you've come from is just like sort of clinging onto your ankles, like, no, you can't go, you can't leave. So it's almost like this energy when you're trying to, elevate, to rise up above what's pulled you down and maybe pulled down your family for generations, there can be some drawback, and there can be a lot of psychological stories behind the family unit or where you come from and your roots and your ancestry. Some of you may have a great relationship with your family. It could just come out in terms of, generational trauma that's been passed on. And with Scorpio, the energy of crisis situation. So the family could be a little bit dramatic at times or really want to like pull you down from ascending to your highest potential. There can be a pressure placed on you, a psychological pressure for sure, that you need to continue on the family business or that you need to do what everyone else did or finish out dreams for other people. With North Node Taurus, it's about working slowly and steadily towards something that means a lot to you, towards earning income and to ascending to the highest of your career potential, being known as something. And like I said with North Node, it's not where we're inherently comfortable. So it might feel safer to, ground down, to stick to what you know. But with North Node 10th house, you're being asked to expand into the public eye to allow what you find valuable to be accessible by many people. And this is a highly abundant access. You could find that when you pursue work and vocation that's valuable to you, even if your family doesn't agree with it, lots of people will also find it valuable and benefit from your services and from your dedication and your patience. And that's another theme with North Node Taurus, being open to step by step and letting go of this all or nothing sort of mentality, like going to excess in building your career or trying to ascend too soon. So South Node Scorpio, there can be a preoccupation with power, and with that, trying to skip steps on the ladder. Just think one step at a time, building your career, building your dream, allowing your services to be accessible to the general public. And maybe it's something, unpopular with your family, like something that seems too simplistic or too basic. As I've mentioned before, Taurus is gardening, it's farming, it's working with your hands, it's grounding down into your body. So it might not be something necessarily super glamorous, but it's something that feels good to you and allowing you to have that patient step-by-step approach in building your career, not being concerned with skipping steps on the ladder, playing power games at work or anything like that, but building something that is simple, that is true, that you're committed to, and feeling genuinely proud of yourself. North Node Taurus in the 11th house, South Node Scorpio in the 5th house. I just had a client with this axis, and with this, what you need to be mindful of is very dramatic love affairs, very hedonistic. I don't want to say the word, but because YouTube doesn't like the necessarily word, but you know, hopping into bed a little too soon and being very, very attuned to these emotional and romantic highs and lows. And there can be a danger with this combo of your pleasures and your pursuits being very destructive in some ways, being mindful around partying, being mindful around substances of all sorts. I apologize if the camera angle changed. My card was full, so I had to go deal with that. With South Node in 5th house, what your Achilles heel is your romantic desires, and even sort of having these love affairs that invite in so many intense feelings, and almost being permanently on this roller coaster ride of, you know, intense merging with people and intense emotion that it elicits, and maybe creativity as well as a result of this, like just being in these relationships and writing songs about them and things of that nature. And not realizing that you're not really building anything substantial. You're sort of like building and then destroying these relationships without really building your hopes and dreams for the future. With North Node Taurus 11th house, there is a nodal journey for you around building stability for yourself and even for your community. 11th house is hopes and dreams, so being able to look to the future and not just in the next 5 minutes. Not just doing things because it'll be a fun night out, but really thinking long and hard in what's going to give you stability. It also enhances your friendships, your community, and humanitarian efforts. And with North Node in Taurus, you could be providing, you know, a foundation for these individuals, teaching people money management skills, or doing something where you're able to provide for people in a very physical, tangible way. Community gardens rushes to my mind with this combination, or a food bank program, or something that'll generally make the world a better place. And getting out of the roller coasters of up and down romance. Does this mean that romance won't be a part of your life? No, not at all. But it is really important that you don't let falling in love detract you from your broader vision goals. And if you're in a relationship that's bringing out the worst in you, that's really toxic, just know that's your South Node, you know, talking of constantly, you know, this hedonistic rush of falling so deeply in love with someone and merging right away and just taking it to this really passionate place, and taking a beat and being willing to build towards the future that you want to cultivate, both for yourself, for your relationships, as well as for the world that you want to build. It is considered with this particular nodal story that you widen your perspective to how you can truly serve other humans in a very balanced and patient manner. North Node Taurus in the 12th house, South Node Scorpio in the 6th house. So for you, you're on this journey around believing without necessarily seeing, right? So with South Node Scorpio in the 6th house, there can be a Achilles heel around always wanting, you know, someone else to create and guide your schedule for you. So with this particular journey, there could be past life experiences of working for someone or under someone who was very toxic, very manipulative. There was a lot of power plays, but it made you feel more comfortable for someone else to be in control of your daily routine and to be sort of around people as part of your daily routine. And part of North Node Taurus in the 12th house is getting really comfortable within your own space, within your solitude, for building self-sufficiency for yourself and being able to build these qualities so that you're able to sort of ask deeper questions of life around spirituality, around what else is there, around also healing. There can also be a journey of diving into your subconscious processes. With South Node 6th house, there can be this danger of wanting to stay really busy or have someone else tell you what to do in order to outsource your own healing or not have to think about those things. And with North Node 12th house, you're being asked to really penetrate below and ask yourself, why am I, you know, the way that I am? How can I heal these parts of myself? And with Taurus emphasized in a very sort of grounded, patient way, not rushing your own healing, but not covering it up with stimuli and people around you and other people's energy. It's almost a journey around getting really comfortable in your solitude so that you're able to sort of dig down and do that deeper healing and be comfy in your own space, as well as build security for yourself. With South Node Scorpio, you know, it's this constant building and destruction. So you might feel uncomfortable, when things are too peaceful, you know, you're in your own space, you've built this life for yourself, and you're like, something's got to go wrong. It's what it always does. But for you, it's about learning to enjoy the fruits of your labor, learning to enjoy comfort, learning to enjoy sensuality, and learning to really address, this is the 12th house, learning to address the healing journey that you may need to go on in order to really enjoy those things to the fullest. So if you feel like every time you get money, you just feel the urge to spend it all just because it makes you feel nervous, have good things, really diving deeper and saying, why is it that I feel like I don't deserve nice things? Why is it that I don't value my own time, that I just want to give it away to all of these different things? Why is it that I have such a hard time enacting boundaries around my schedule and honoring, you know, this space that I need in order to be by myself and do my own healing, so on and so forth. You would also encourage any sort of this is an interesting combination. Any sort of, you know, psychic intuitive work would also be supported. It pulls in, you know, you have natural abilities with South Node Scorpio. You're pretty good at understanding the deeper level. And with North Node 12th house, that could be a theme in this lifetime, and honestly earning an income from those skills, as North Node Taurus does support building structure and building a foundation for yourself in those areas. Just be mindful to get one step at a time. North Node Taurus does emphasize patience and working one step at a time, grounding down into your senses, connecting with nature. Maybe that's when you feel, you know, your psychic abilities the most turned on, and being okay with creating boundaries around the people that you work with, the people that you work for. You are very used to being told what to do in your daily routine. This lifetime is sort of about taking it into control for yourself to figure out what's valuable for yourself and being able to preserve and protect your own solitude, your own healing journey, and the learning of these intuitive skills. So friends, what did you think of the video? I would love to hear below if yours resonated. I will be going through all the signs. One will be posted every 2 weeks, so every other Friday. So in 2 weeks from now, it'll be North Node Gemini through the houses, so on and so forth. Comment below which one you're looking forward to seeing. My Instagram handle is @HaleyCometAstrology. My TikTok is the same. And until we meet again, drink lots of water and stay cosmic.